Nate puts Audra through her paces. Victoria cheers up Victor, and Summer and Adam enter the conflict in Jack's office on today's episode of The Young and the Restless. In an office at Jabbath, Adam overhears Kyle telling Jack, "You know it's true," that he doesn't belong there. Since Kyle has been fibbing to him, Jack is curious as to what he knows about the truth. Kyle yells at him that it's too complex to explain, and he demands an explanation. According to Jack, it doesn't sound too complicated. "Please explain what is happening to me." Fuming, Kyle admits, "The fact is I have been working with Victor to get Adam out of Jabbath." "What do you think you're doing?" Summer asks Adam as she walks by him in the hall, noticing that he's been listening in. Adam says, obviously, to confirm that he is indeed listening in. Summer encourages him to back off because it's a personal conversation and adds, "I mean it." She warns Jack that she will expose his plan unless he stops. Due to the personal nature of the discussion, Adam intended to handle it personally. It's possible that they need the distraction. He guarantees that the situation will improve or be resolved. Summer, in his opinion, should be included. Adam tells her the rumor about Kyle and Victor's collaboration is accurate. Jack may have just found out. In the workplace, Kyle explains to Jack that he didn't share any sensitive information with Victor, just details about Adam's poor performance on the job. "That's enough," Jack says, and accuses him of lying. He had been working behind his back to undermine his co-CEO. "Do you know how much of an insult it is to me? How dare you assume I need you to fill me in on what's going on at my workplace?" With a yell, he declares his intentions. Kyle claims he acted in good faith. Jack screams, "Bull. You don't do what Victor wants and then pretend it's for the greater good." To Nate's surprise, Victoria walks into his office at Newman Media and shuts the door behind her. For more information about their strategy with Tucker, she inquires as to whether he has any. Nate is crossing his fingers that Audra responds today. To some extent, he is putting her to the test. For the time being, he must watch to see if she recovers. Lily expresses to Daniel at Society her delight at Jill's approval of Omega Sphere. Daniel is eager to launch into action. The subject of Devon's legal action comes up. Lily tells her pal not to worry, she'll be ok. Is Phyllis prepared to begin her shift, she inquires. By his own admission, Daniel tells her she'll soon be out of a job. Phyllis checks in at the hotel, and immediately after, she bumps into Tucker. In English, he would say "welcome home," but he doesn't know the Portuguese equivalent. Phyllis has a lot to say, but it would be inappropriate to translate. She presses the elevator's button as they exchange knowing glances. In this scene, Phyllis confronts Tucker about telling her son on her, inquiring, "How was the trip?" Tucker demands. She sends him to hell in the elevator after telling him to go to hell. Audra, standing in the shadows, says to Tucker, "Still making friends, I see." Tucker ponders the possibility of profiting from another person's hostility. Conversation turns to their relationship, and Audra suggests that they separate by leaving the hotel. Michael responds to Victor's call and makes his way to the property. He informs Tucker that he and Victoria have agreed to pay off Tucker's debt in full. Michael says with a sneer that they plan to give McCall the boot for real. After some thought, Victor says, "You bet." Lily told the Society she was unhappy with Phyllis marketing Daniel's platform around and that she would fully support Daniel in his decision. She suggests that he find her a suitable alternative. To date, Daniel has not done so, but that will change. Daniel returns the subject of her anxiety by saying that she is a warrior and that she no longer runs because of it. Lily reassures him that the twins are healthy. "At least I know where they are," she said. She offers her apologies and expresses her desire for Lucy and Heather's relationship to improve. Phyllis calls Daniel and he picks up the phone. When Daniel picks up, he immediately asks the caller where in the world she is. The message from Phyllis is that she has returned home safely. She feels bad that Tucker told him about her trip. Daniel is frustrated because he thinks it is irrelevant that she went. Phyllis wants to meet with him to give an explanation, so she schedules a time. That's something Daniel would really adore. To what time and place? Kyle yells at Jack at Jabbath that Victor wasn't trying to attack him and that Victor just wants Adam back at Newman. Jack hopes his son cares a little about how this will impact him and Jabbath. What happens when yet another co-CEO suddenly leaves the company? He orders Kyle to step aside so that he can take control of the business. He thinks Victor is looking for more. If Victor sends you a message with the words, "Stay tuned," you may be sure that there will be a continuation of his plot. It's interrupted by Adam. This guy is a lifesaver. Kyle sighs as Summer enters the room from behind him. Nate tells Victoria at Newman Media that he will know he can trust Audra if she is able to do the assignment he assigned to her. Even though Michael didn't want him there, he's grateful to Victoria for making him a part of the meeting yesterday. According to Victoria, this was the ideal chance to show her father and his attorney that he plays a crucial role in her team's success. Nate says with a grin, "We definitely make a terrific team." Tucker plans to try and mend fences with Audra at the hotel. There's tension between them, he says, but they've got a nice past together. Audra concurs but ribs him about how he keeps being turned down. She assumes there's no room for resentment now that they've parted ways. The question is whether they could be friends if they didn't get anything out of it. The possibility is there, Tucker thinks. He is interested in hearing her thoughts on how she expects this to pan out. They joke that they don't have any pals. Audra believes that what she and her friends need is a platonic meal. "No sex at dinner," Tucker echoes. Upon Daniel's arrival, Phyllis is busy unpacking in her hotel room. He is perplexed as to what could possibly have occurred in her twisted mind that would have led her to believe it was safe to take a plane to Portugal. She was trying to ease his concerns. According to him, she must have assumed he would have said no if she had asked. "What, I can't help my son?" Phyllis angrily asks. "But how could I possibly not worry about my son? Is she forbidden from contacting Heather or paying Lucy a visit?" When Daniel swallows, it's a big one. "And you actually saw them?" He's curious if she'll fill him in on what happened. Phyllis informs Daniel that she visited Heather at her residence and that Heather welcomed her inside. Since she was already familiar with Omega Sphere, the news that he had been motivated to try something new was especially welcome. Heather expressed real joy with the news. "She simply left it at that?" Daniel asks. Phyllis feels like she needs a moment to herself. Lucy felt awkward. She may just be experiencing adolescent angst. He thinks she's trying to be kind with his sentiments, and that bothers Daniel. Phyllis is honest enough to say it didn't work out. He feels she brought up the subject far too soon, and Daniel is furious about it. Phyllis's only intention was to be of service. As Daniel snarls, "You never do." Kyle promises Summer they can discuss this further at Jabut. She is well aware of the situation at hand. "What the heck did you say to her?" Kyle yells at Adam. Adam corrects Kyle by saying, "A little thing called the truth." Jack states once again that he and his son were engaged in discourse. Adam apologizes profusely for interrupting you. After he finishes his speech, he will go. Adam informs Jack that his gratitude should be directed at Kyle and Victor. Jack's brow furrows in bewilderment. Victoria informs Nate that in order to acquire McCall's debt, Newman Media will have to back out of deals and reallocate funds. Nate is intrigued by her and would love to learn more about how her mind works. Victoria gushes that they share such quality with each other. After a moment, there is a knock at the door, and Audra comes in. Victoria extends an invitation for her to come along. "Excuse me, young man, let me tell you something," Phyllis says to Daniel in her apartment. "The reason I flew all the way to Portugal to assist you is because of my deep affection for my kid." Daniel doesn't understand why she never backs down when he shows her she's incorrect. "You're making me crazy," he yells. When Phyllis suggests she put the topic on hold, Daniel angrily exclaims, "No." Avoid becoming involved in his affairs is one of his directives to her. He has to stay put, and he can't afford to have her wreaking havoc there. Phyllis feels sympathetic to his distress and hopes to make amends. Daniel asks that she not interfere with his real business. When asked if she was being fired, Phyllis said, "No way." In response, Daniel says, "Consider this your official termination notice," before leaving the room. "Believe me, I won't be thanking Kyle or Victor for their machinations." Jack tells Adam at Jabut. Kyle says to Adam that he doesn't need anyone, least of all him, to come on strong and attempt to suck him up. Summer recommends to her spouse that he pay attention to her. As Kyle tells his wife, he recently told his dad the truth and plans to do the same with her. Summer pauses for a moment, unsure of what else to say, and then sniffs. "I hope those textile mills were worth it to you." Jack inquires as to the subject of her discourse. When Summer asked Kyle about something, he probably felt he had already told him everything. Kyle concedes that they hadn't even gotten close. An angry Jack says, "Wait, you betrayed me to Victor for the sake of those textile mills, did you?" And that illustrates my thesis regarding his true intentions. To put it another way, if he's ready to pay that much, he's going to want a lot more from you in return. Kyle, the other shoe's ready to drop, he warns his son. He's giving Victor one more chance to explain his next move. Michael cautions Victor at the ranch that he is not known for backing down and that gaining control of Tucker's debt will be the easiest part of their plan. There's going to be a real showdown. Have you ever seen me back down from a fight? Victor asks with a sneer. As the mustache forms a fist, Michael grins. It appears that Daniel's chat with Phyllis did not go well, as he storms out of the coffee shop and into the patio to join Lily. According to Daniel, he hacked at his mom. In his mind, the harm she's done to his personal life is more pressing. As far as Lily is concerned, her intentions were good. A freight train in Daniel's analogy, she keeps going and going until she obtains what she wants. Lily challenges him on the premise that he derives no benefit whatsoever from her visit. Daniel can almost see her walking in and stating that everything is okay now. That decision wasn't up to her. It appears that his mother still exerts a great deal of control over his actions. It's possible that she's damaged any opportunity I had of making peace with my family. Lily will not allow him to abandon Heather and Lucy. She knows what he's like when he's in love, and he'll do what it takes to make things right again when the time is perfect. When Daniel Romolati is on, there is no stopping him. When Audra asks if Victoria at Newman Media has filled her in on what's going on, Victoria excuses herself from the conversation with Nate. Nate is simply curious as to whether or not she has made up with Tucker. She reveals that she purposely caused a collision between them in an effort to get them to become friends. Tonight we're eating dinner. Nate finds it incredible. If Audra wants to know if the Newmans are up to no good, she still has some investigating to do. Kyle at Jabat is doubtful that Victor has any further plans. If he does, he hasn't shared that information with him. Jack is incensed that Kyle thought he could handle the matter and only looked out for himself. To that, Kyle strongly objects. Jack is confident in this assertion, but he has a much more in-depth familiarity with Victor Newman, as in, you had no idea what you were doing. Adam tells Jack that he understands that the office is Jack's, but he hopes that what he's about to say would make things easier for Jack. He concludes that Kyle was protecting Jabat. He would want to get rid of an outsider who wasn't doing their job at the family business. He no longer cares about the outcome and has contributed nothing of value. Jack believes that Adam is being too hard on himself and would like to assist him in softening his stance. Adam will be totally forthright in saying that he doesn't believe things will improve. Hence, I have some news to share. Victoria pays a visit to the ranch to inform Victor that the necessary funds have been secured. They are preparing to launch an attack against Tucker. At this point, Kyle in Jack's office is bored, but Adam begs for just one more minute, promising that the rest of the story would be fantastic. Adam appreciates Jack giving him a chance, but he was unable to deliver satisfactory results. It would be best for everyone if I resigned or was fired. I've decided to leave Jabat. The news causes Jack to gasp.